Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I'm back again, and I'm here today to talk about the various scenarios and different things that these teams that I hand selected, that I personally think would be the best destinations for Russell Westbrook to go. Now, I really only would want to see him on two teams. One, the Detroit Pistons, because I think a match in a big three with Andre Drummond and Blake Griffin would be a pretty good setup for Russell Westbrook. And it also allow him to run a bit more freely in the offense with Blake Griffin. And because Blake Griffin this year had his best season ever and then he basically was playing a point forward-ish role. Because I remember at the beginning of the season, they were talking about how Blake Griffin is going to be running with the ball a bit more. He's going to be controlling the ball a bit as a guard-ish, point forward-ish kind of thing. I remember the coach was talking about that earlier in this year. And I think Andre Drummond can benefit from it as well. Because I think Andre Drummond being a third option would mean he'd have to actually develop some type of skill in the post, which he desperately needs at this point, because he can't really develop anymore as a player unless he becomes a lights out shooter to the point where it doesn't matter who's guarding him, which is kind of ridiculous, I'd say. And also the other team is the Miami Heat, because I think Jimmy Butler needs another star on the team with him if he wants to realistically try to win in Miami. Because that was a pretty odd choice to pick anyway, to go to Miami. I'm going to go to Miami with no stars around me, so I can have my own team, because I liked how D Wade was treated when he left, which was a very odd look, in my opinion. Because it's like, if I'm going to go to Miami Heat, because of how they treated D Wade, who got the treatment he deserved, he should have got more. He brought Miami 3 championships. 3! LeBron doesn't come to Miami if D Wade not there. Bosh don't come if D Wade not there. Shaq was a big reason they won in 2006, but D Wade was the Finals MVP. He won the damn championship. He was the man. That early. 3 years into his career. Unless Jimmy Butler has 3 rings to pull out of his ass in Miami, they're not going to win anything unless they get a nice piece like Westbrook. And really, I don't see too many options on either of these teams, even though these are the best spots for him to be, unless you trade a lot of players. I can see them getting Goran Dragic, James Johnson, or somebody like that, or Dion Waiters maybe even, sending them to Oklahoma City for Russell Westbrook, because Russell Westbrook has a supermax contract, which is very bad in most deals. And also, as well as that, they have been talking about potentially getting Chris Paul, having them. That was another scenario that people have been trying to rotate on the internet, which is not a good scenario at all. At all, literally not at all. And that I literally would absolutely hate to see that happen. And really, the Pistons, they could send Reggie Jackson back over to Oklahoma City and try to pick up Kennard or something to get some value, or a draft pick or something of the sort, to try to make up the difference. But the thing is, they got a bunch of picks off the Clippers, which may or may not be of really good value, just based off of the rosters currently, how the rosters are currently set up, and what the future will look like. And I'd say it's a pretty big deal looking at this kind of thing. It's a pretty big separation between the contracts of these players and where they should end up. And I'd say either of these teams, in my opinion, would be a perfect fit for Russell Westbrook. Basketball-wise, the only fit, actually not a perfect fit, but they'd be the best basketball-wise fits in this current league setup. I'd say these would be the best two teams for him to go to, and the most sense-making of the teams for him to go to. I've heard the Orlando Magic thrown around in there. I don't think the Magic should do that. They got a lot of young pieces, but they do need a good guard to look at, which is I'd say which is a pretty big option. A good guard for them would be ideal for the Magic, because DJ Augustine he played really good this year, but DJ Augustine isn't a marquee star player guy, and Westbrook will bring you in some money, some energy, and some just all around new feel to your team, pretty much. He'll give you the new. He'll show you what's up for real. And I'd say I'm gonna leave that at that. I don't really see the contracts really matching up well here, but it's pretty solid. I'd say these teams are the best solid basketball fits. I'd like to hear some more. I'd like to look more into it. I'd like to see where this goes, and it could have another powerhouse somewhere in the league if he gets put on the right team. Alright, but thanks for listening to me once again, guys, and I will catch you folks later. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Alright, and now we're at the end of the video. I was thinking about just letting the instrumental ride out, but I was gonna decide that I'm gonna talk about what's coming up next. I'm gonna talk about why Carmelo Anthony isn't in the league, and why they're trying to get him out, why he gets the wrong type of coverage in the media, and the unfair treatment he gets from everyone pretty much now. And then I'm going to talk about later on is the issue with the Supermax contract, and why the contract itself and the reason why it was created, and why it's a big problem in today's league. Because the Supermax contract has become a very conflicting topic in the NBA now. I'd say it should be talked about much more, because it's become a big issue for generally everybody involved at this point. I'd say the only successful max contract has been James Harden and Steph Curry.